Hi, I'm Alanis, and you're listening to Lost? Same. Let's talk. I'm Alanis, and this podcast is a bit of a passion project. Something honest, hopefully relatable, and something honestly I wish existed when I was completely confused and lost about where I was going in life or what I was supposed to be doing. Today I want to talk openly about the chaos of figuring out what comes next, especially when school ends or when things don't go to plan or as expected. Let's start with the pressure we all feel to have everything figured out by 18. I remember being told that you need to choose your career path now and feeling like, how? I have no clue what I want to do. And that pressure can feel really heavy, but here's the truth. Barely anyone has it all figured out. Okay, as well, for things not to go the way that you planned them to go. I remember when in year 6, okay, so we're going back far, I had this whole idea of how my life was going to go. From leaving year 6, I had this idea of what I was going to do, what I was going to do with my GCSEs, and what I was going to do after that, and where I was going to go to school, and where I was going to go to university. And obviously a lot of this was just based on things I'd heard or things I'd seen other people around me do. And then I remember going to secondary school and feeling so confused because I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy the secondary school that I went to. I didn't have a great time there. And I just felt really lost because there was a really big part of me that felt like that was the right thing to do because it's what had always been expected of me, not just from other people but from myself. Like, this school that was right by me was the one I always thought I'd go to. I never even thought about going to a different school. And I ended up moving schools because I was having such a hard time, and part of me really hated the fact that I had to move schools because I just remember feeling like it wasn't right. Like, it wasn't the path I was like supposed to go down. Like, I was supposed to go to this school and then I was supposed to do this. And I felt a very similar thing when I came to leaving school. I ended up really enjoying the second school that I went to. I went there in year 10 and it was so much better than the first school that I went to. But it was just different, and I think sometimes when we have this idea of the right path, it's so hard for us to accept that something else might be better for us. And when it came to leaving school, I decided to go to sixth form. And as I say, there wasn't much options. Like, it was very, so there's sciences, your maths, English, and I did like English, but I had no idea what I wanted to do, what I could do with an English A-level. Like, you do very much get told that what you choose for your A-levels or your college course will reflect what you do in the future. It's not the case majority of the time. So I just felt really stuck. And then up to when I collected my results, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And obviously the day that you collect your results, that's your day to like go into whatever college or sixth form you've applied for and, you know, fully make your application. I got some unconditional offers from a few different places, but I had no idea. And there was all different things as well. So when I got my results, I was still confused and I was still lost. I had all that time to think, but all the pressure that surrounded it, I just felt even more stuck and even more overwhelmed. And I think when we feel overwhelmed, sometimes we kind of become a bit, not that we put it off intentionally, but in our mind, we try to put it to the back of our mind because it's easier than just feeling overwhelmed with everything. And that's definitely something that I did. And when it came to it, I just applied for sixth form. No idea what I actually wanted to do, but I applied to sixth form because I didn't have any idea, and it just felt like the easiest thing for me to do. I ended up doing a course that I would have never thought that I would have done. So I did double health and social at A-level. I never wanted to do anything in health and social. I didn't pick it for my GCSEs. Honestly, I just picked it because they told me that was the closest thing to what I actually was wanting to do at the time, which was psychology, which even now I can't imagine myself doing psychology, but at that point that's kind of something that I wanted to do, or something that I felt vaguely interested in. And they said, well, we actually don't have that course anymore, but we have health and social, so we'll just put you in there. And I went with it because I didn't know what to do, so I just trusted the people around me, to be honest, and the direction that they was going to take me in, which it makes sense why I did that, and I think that's a very normal thing to do. But realistically, it didn't help me in the long run because it wasn't actually something that I enjoyed. And when I was doing it, I just felt so lost and confused. Like, what am I doing here? Everybody else in there wanted to be like a midwife or a nurse. I cannot stand blood, or, to be honest, any bodily fluids, okay, that isn't supposed to be outside of someone. like blood, sick. I'm gonna be on the floor. I'm gonna need a nurse. There was no way that I wanted to do any of that. And I just felt like such an imposter when I was there, because why was I there? And it made me feel so much more lost. But there is actually more options than that. So now I actually do a creative course, and it's a course that I didn't even know existed. I had no idea. But I love it. I really, really enjoy it, and I feel like I've learned so much more about myself by doing something that I genuinely enjoy. But there's so many different options. You know, you can literally take a year off if you wanted, and that wouldn't be a failure. You're not a failure for not knowing what you want to do, or needing more time to figure things out, or just needing a break. I mean, things come up, life happens. It doesn't make you a failure for returning to education. I think if anything, it makes you quite brave to be able to do that, to fall down and get back up, or to not know what you was doing or what you wanted to do, and then figure it out and really do something about that. I want to mention mental health as well, because it's real, and the stress of figuring things out can burn you out. You might feel like everyone is moving and you're stuck. You might feel tired, unmotivated, overwhelmed, but it's completely normal to feel that way, and you're not behind in any way. I'm sure everybody feels that way, whether they say it or not. People often don't talk about the things that aren't aesthetically nice to hear, but the truth is everyone feels really lost and confused, and you're not behind in that. And I think it's so important to look after your mental health when you're under so much pressure and under so much stress. And people really take for granted what it's like to be 16 and to be in those years, because I always thought 16 is such a weird age, because it's like you're not technically an adult yet, so you can't make adult, you haven't got all the rights to do things that adults can do. But at the same time, you have to make a lot of adult choices when it comes to work, when it comes to your education and your future, and it's a really hard thing to be able to do. But there really are so many options. So you could go into an apprenticeship, you could go to college, and I've found that college often has a lot more options than sixth forms. Obviously it depends where you go in, but at least in the sixth forms that I've seen, my experiences, my friends' experiences, there tends to be more options in college. And I think a really good way to find out what you want to do is to have a hobby. I think that having a hobby is one of the most important things for your mental health, just feeling grounded as a person, and also just figuring out exactly what it is that you want to do. Even if it's something that you don't feel like could get you somewhere, you never know. It could be something that isn't necessarily academically valued, but that doesn't mean that it's not valued somewhere else. there's a lot of things that you can realise about yourself from just having a hobby. It might not even be that within itself. Be someone who just likes drawing, and you may think, well, what could I really get by just drawing? But then that could lead you to illustration, or that could lead you to graphic design, or there is so much more possibilities out there and opportunities out there than what you would think and than what we're taught, because some things just aren't traditionally valued when we're being taught them, but that doesn't mean that they're not valued in other industries or elsewhere. The truth is that your path doesn't have to be a straight path, and it's not going to be, as much as we would all like it to be. There's going to be challenges, and there's going to be turns and things that you're going to have to do that you never expected that you'd have to do. But that doesn't automatically make it wrong or bad. You can change your mind so many times and it will be okay. Really, it will. I think we just, honestly, we think to ourselves that there's only one way to do things. Like, changing your mind is the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing you can do, but it's not. And starting again doesn't mean that you've like fell down or you're failing. Like, you can start again and learn so much about yourself. Just think, at like 16, that is such, I feel like it's an age where you're really growing mentally and you're forming your own idea of yourself, like properly forming your own idea of yourself, and you're figuring out the things that you enjoy, the things that you like, the things that you don't like. It's just, I mean, at least in my experience, and even now, to be honest, I feel like it's an age where we're really just figuring everything out about ourselves, and obviously that pressure is so hard. If you are listening to this and you're feeling overwhelmed, confused, just breathe. Honestly, just take a deep breath right now, because you're not behind and you're not broken. You're learning, you're growing, and you're trying. And honestly, that is all anyone could ever ask of you, to just try, to learn, to grow. And you are learning and growing naturally. The more that you try, the more that you'll do those things. It just comes with life, comes with experience, and all the pressures within that. It's important to just allow yourself to be a person who's trying and experiencing the world for the first time. To not know everything all the time. Try not to compare your journey to other people's, because you don't know what's really going on in their life, and also your life just isn't the same as other people's, and that's completely okay. I wanted to end it on that note, because honestly that's all I really wanted this episode to be. I want it to be comfort for people who felt like me, and also hopefully now maybe you know a little bit more about the options that you do have, or maybe you don't, maybe you already knew that. But I hope that this provided you some kind of comfort and relief, because honestly you will be okay. All you've got to do and all you can do is just keep on living. And yeah, so thank you for spending time with me today. If this helped you even a tiny bit, just feel a little bit less alone, that means so much to me. You don't have to have it all figured out. And until next time, take care and be kind to yourself. Bye!